Hey guys, Sandy here. Welcome back to my channel and welcome back to Mixed Media Mayhem and Follow a Sketch Friday. Now today's sketch is this one right here. It is sketch number 82 by Susan Stringfellow. It has a 4x6 photo and a 4x4 photo. So I have a 4x6 photo and a 4x4 photo. And it is also Mixed Media Mayhem. And the mixed media that we are supposed to use today is modeling paste, stamps, and tissue paper. So I have my modeling paste, I have a couple of circle stamps that I enjoy, and I brought in some teal tissue paper. So let's see what I can do. All right, guys, I'm going to be quite honest. I was not exactly sure how this layout was going to turn out. I didn't have any real kind of vision. I didn't have an idea in my head about what it was going to look like when it was finished. The only thing that I had in my head was the color scheme. So I wanted to use blues and teals and mint greens. Like that is the only thing that was in my head when I started this. So this is on fast forward, obviously. All of my voiceovers are on fast forward. And so this is a lot of stamping, right? Like I am using the Altenew stamp set, and I am basically treating this big waffle stamp. It looks like a Stroop waffle. This stamp looks like a Stroop waffle. A Stroop waffle is a really thin waffle, basically, and it's got caramel in between two layers of waffle. And you can get them in the check lanes at Target, and you can also get a big old box of them at Costco. And they are delicious. And let me just tell you something. I have discovered, because I listened to the box. I did what the box told me to do and put my Stroop waffle over top of my coffee and let the caramel soften. Oh my heavens, it's delicious. Anyway, that stamp looks like a Stroop waffle. So I took the smaller dotted stamp and I went around the Stroop waffle stamp. I am using varying colors of ink. Some of the colors are very similar, and you're not going to be able to see a huge difference here on camera, but in person you actually can tell a difference. I am using a round Catherine Pooler stamping block. I love this little round stamping block, you guys. You see me use it as a little teeny tiny palette. You see me use it as a stamping block. I also do the smushing technique with it. I just love the way that it feels in my hand. It is a great size and it's comfortable. So now that I'm going to go ahead and get all of those inks down there, I've got this great kind of pattern going on here, and they kind of look like flowers a little bit. Now I'm going to take the teal tissue paper and I am just going to tear a section of it. Now, I'm pretty sure that there is a video on my channel somewhere of this. I can't remember if it was a live I did in a Facebook thing or if it was on YouTube, but there's actually a color technique that you can do with tissue paper. It's a color transfer technique. Originally, I was going to do that, and then I decided, no, I'm going to apply the tissue paper kind of like paper mache. Okay. I just flashed back to the 4th grade when we made paper mache masks out of cardboard, toilet paper rolls, paper towels, and newspaper. Did you guys ever do paper mache in elementary school or anywhere else? Loved it. And then we coated it with tissue paper with watered down Elmer's school glue. I am doing something similar where I am placing thin layers of tissue paper across my page, and I am using matte gel medium to apply the tissue paper and make it stick. So there is matte gel underneath of the tissue paper and also on top of the tissue paper. It will take a minute to dry. I'm not putting on a very thick layer of matte gel medium, and I am using, of course, my silicone brush because I have discovered the silicone brush and I absolutely adore it. So I'm going to pull off the tissue pieces that hang off the edge of my paper. And of course, my hands are a little bit gluey, so they're going to stick. And then in my sketch, there is a little bit of a line down at the bottom as well. So I'm going to add a couple little bits of tissue paper here. And then I'm just making sure to get the matte gel medium thoroughly coating it. Like I said, I want that tissue paper to stay stuck down to my paper. It would suck so badly if I did all this work and didn't have enough matte gel medium to make the tissue paper hang on to my paper and it just pops off. Like, you sit there, you do all this work and it pops off. Stresses me out, ticks me off, all the emotions. They're kind of like stickers that don't stick. Like, I can feel my blood boiling thinking about it sometimes. Most of the time, I'm just like, whatever, I'm just going to add some adhesive. But sometimes it really pisses me off thinking about, you sit there, you buy stickers, you're paying good money for stickers, named stickers. There's stick in the name, and they don't stick. Drives me insane. Okay, we're going to let that go now because we're moving on to stencils, and you guys know I love me some stencils. So this is the Tiny Heart stencil, and of course you can pick this up in my shop, scrappingreflections.com. I am using some white modeling paste, and again, I am using a silicone brush, and I'm just brushing it over top of the stencil. So I'm not doing full stenciling. I'm not worried about making sure that my modeling paste is an even thickness across the stencil. The only thing I was doing was putting some down so that I had hearts on the top and I had hearts on the bottom. Now, some of the hearts did go over top of the stamped bits. You don't really see that a lot on camera, and I think I cover up most of it, so you don't actually see it in real life either, but that's fine. It's fine, guys, it's fine. So these two photos are from this one of the, I think it's the only sign in Harmony, California. So Harmony is a really cool little town. I've scrapbooked a couple other layouts about Harmony. It's population 18, and people actually rent out the entire town for weddings and things like that. Christopher and I had an adventure, and we checked it out, and they had like pottery, ceramics, all of these really awesome glass blowing creations, really, really good little food truck. They have a dairy where we had some ice cream, and then up the hill they had Harmony wines. So we had a grand old time, and I wanted to document the photo, and we were driving by this kind of mannequin guy with the sign, so I have a little bit of a different angle because I snapped two photos in quick succession, so I just want to make sure that both of them get documented. Now, I am doing entirely too much measuring and marking of lines to cut this sheet of paper, so that I am basically following the sketch with how the paper is on the sketch. Now, on the sketch, however, I think they definitely used a longer sheet of paper. So my gap here is much more, let's say, robust than what is in the sketch. And I am totally cool with that. Now, the paper that I just cut up is reading a little bit purple on my camera, or purper. I don't want anybody getting upset because I'm not calling purple purper. But it is reading a little twinge of purple over here, but it's more of a navy. So yeah, that's just, I think it's a combination of my camera, the lights, and my pink matte. I do notice that the pink matte also changes color sometimes with the lighting and everything. So we're just going with the people. I do go ahead and matte my photos. So I do have a thicker matte on these photos, and that's just because I liked the color. So I'm going to go ahead and have that on there. So you can see I covered up a good bit of the stenciling, right? Like there is a good bit covered up. The fun thing is that you can kind of see it peeking through the tissue paper. So it is still there, and it's like a little extra in the background. It's just that little extra teeny little bit that can push something over the edge. That could be the little thing where you're looking at a layout and you're like, it's missing something. That inking in the background could be the thing. So when you have your layout all finished, you're not going to tear it apart and ink the back. Well, I mean, you might tear it apart and ink the background, but ink it first, right? Get your stamping done first. If you end up covering it, it's fine. You're not wasting a whole heck of a lot of ink. If you're that worried about your ink pads, you probably shouldn't stamp in the first place, because ink pads are made to be used. And if you don't use them, they're going to sit there. They're going to dry up because they're moisture, and moisture evaporates and dries out. So you don't need that in your life. Use your ink pads. I do pull out these blue thickers, and I am using a ruler to make sure that they are in a straight line, which is kind of crazy because as soon as I tapped down the word harmony, I realized that I actually have the thickers guides to make straight lines, and instead of pulling out the guides, I just pulled out a ruler. So there's one of those moments where I'm like, was it worth it to spend the couple of bucks that I got them on Tuesday morning? And I'm like, I have used them for curves or other things like that because I don't have a curvy ruler. And a protractor only gives you a certain level of curve. So yeah, it's worth it. I am going to put a couple of these tiny word phrases over here because there are what looks to be a place that it could be tiny word phrases, or it could be journaling, or it could be anything, but there's tiny little rectangles, and I'm going to put word phrases there. So I picked some word phrases that I figure can go with it. They aren't a perfect match for the theme or anything like that, but I think that they are close enough that it will make sense, so that if you actually are flipping through my album and actually reading the words that are on there, you're not going to be scratching your head and being like, what in the world is she talking about? So that's not going to be on there. To be fair, I don't expect people to read all the words in the albums, especially because I create so many layouts for one event or one certain thing, and they all don't have words on them, people. I don't journal on every single layout, and it's fine. It's fine. I do have some fabric washi tape, and I'm going to place that down over here on the left-hand side of that little bannery bit, and then I put some down at the bottom as well. I've got these label stickers that I picked up a long time ago, so I am excited to actually get those on a layout and get some of them used up. Pull out my little bit of Ellie's Studio stash. So these are die cuts that come with my monthly kit that I get from Ellie's Studio. It's $10 a month, and you get some die cuts and some 3x4 and some 4x6 cards. And I really like that style. And I don't use them as pocket pages most of the time. Most of the time I just put them on my regular layouts. So it works for me. It's a cheap, fun way to get new product coming in every month. Plus, I just like the style of it. It works for me. So I pull out all of the blue and like the teal blue and the navy blue things, and I go ahead and create some clusters. Now, since I have hearts going on as a theme, throughout this, I'm going to just really embrace that and use these Bella Boulevard puffies. There's a mixture of stars, arrows, flowers, and hearts on these puffy bad boys. I don't know exactly what they call them. I'm sure they don't call them puffy bad boys, but let me just tell you, if I ever had a scrapbooking line and I did like icon puffy stickers, they would be called puffy bad boys because that's what they are. So I am going to get some of these hearts down here. I'm just putting it in a couple of places that make sense to me. So the title is Harmony, Our Favorite Tiny Town. I also journaled right on top of the tissue paper, but I wasn't paying attention and I tore the tissue paper a tiny little bit because it was not completely dry. So I did use thin layers of matte gel medium, but there was a couple layers of tissue paper there, so it didn't dry by the time I did that. But don't worry, your pretty little heads, guys. I do go back and once that tissue paper is completely dry, actually complete the journaling. So there it is. Thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to join the Scrapping Reflections Facebook group where you can get the Follow a Sketch Friday, and also check out everyone who played along with Mixed Media Mayhem today. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I will see you again real soon for another video.